Statistically speaking, it's easier to make $1 million in Vegas than it is from starting your own company. And that's true. About 600,000 Americans attempt to start a business every year. Okay, 600,000 of them. Most of them are small businesses, sole proprietorships, restaurants, lifestyle businesses, but some relatively larger number of them are trying to do this grand VC thing. In 2011, angels invested in over 66,000 companies. So that takes that 600,000 down to 66,000. Venture capitalists in 2011 only invested in about 3,700 companies. So take that 66,000 down to 3,700 companies. Of those 3,700 deals that they did, less than 300 of them were startup, pure startup and seed stage funding. If you lump all startup companies together, the survival rate for 7 years is about 30%. A little better than 1 in 10, right? If you started a business tomorrow, about 66% of you would still be in business in 2 years, and about 44% of you would still be in business in 4 or 5 years, and about 30% of you would make it long term, with maybe 5 to 8% of you exiting through a strategic sale. So having some kind of win during that period. A whole generation of entrepreneurs is being born with overwhelming expectations. There is what we're starting to see, a bubble of angel-backed companies that can't get a Series A. So, for example, the accelerators like Y Combinator and Techstars are churning out companies that have received some angel funding, have some level of proof of concept, maybe some customers, maybe some revenue, a website, an app. About 5,000 of those companies, those angel-funded, accelerator-backed companies, appeared in San Francisco alone last year. That's 5,000 companies. Now remember, there were only 300 what we would call seed or Series A, really early stage investments. 5,000 companies thinking we've now made enough progress to interest the VCs, and the VCs are doing fewer and fewer early stage deals. So the crazy multi-million dollar valuations so early in a company's life cycle are incredibly, incredibly rare. They just get so much press that we think they're all over the place. A couple of years ago, we talked about the really early stage gap where you couldn't raise $250,000. Angels stepped in to fill that gap. We're now looking at the $2 million, $3 million Series A gap for entrepreneurs. Several things are happening with these startups. One is they're kind of limping along, trying to figure out if they can sustain on revenue until they can make their case. Another thing is an emerging phenomenon of what we're calling acqui-hires, which is we'll acquire your company for you, for your talent, for your idea, for what you've done, but it's a really small valuation. It's not a kill you, you'll never have to work again valuation. It's more like an employment contract with some equity and a really nice signing bonus. So we're seeing a lot of the accelerator graduated companies going through those kinds of exits. It is reality that there are companies that are valued on paper in the billions of dollars. Many more than you would think necessarily, that aren't sort of 100-year-old Fortune 1000 companies that are people like Facebook with these enormous valuations. But the problem with saying that Facebook is worth X billion dollars is that that's a valuation on paper. It's what players in the market have agreed to say is the top line value of that company. Chicago's big Paper Billionaires Groupon, and it's not doing well. We have, any number of sort of mid-range startups that came out of the University of Chicago. One you might have heard of, Grubhub or Braintree Payments, ME Solutions. All of these are companies that have been valued in the tens of millions of dollars, even higher. So many of them seem to come out of California because that's where the investors give these valuations in their investment rounds. So if you think about a company before it goes public, how do you figure out how much it's worth? Well, typically, traditionally in most industries, you say, well, it's worth some multiple of its sales or some multiple of its profits even. The whole tech space changes so quickly and things explode so quickly that you can't really use that as a benchmark. So you get these multiples of 20 times sales or 100 times sales, or a company that doesn't have any sales that's getting enormous valuations based on the fact that hundreds of millions of people are using it every day or touching it every day. The Larry Ellisons and the Bill Gates, who were the paper money of the 90s, are the real money of the 2000s. I think a lot of these people will, over time, be able to get liquidity on some of that paper valuation and potentially even $1 billion, $2 billion worth, maybe more, over time. Only an academic feels the need to prove through rigorous data, regression analysis, right, what we already know. But I had the opportunity to do some work in the Kaufman Firm Study database. And I can tell you that in all go-to-market models, whether you're a retail business, a products business, a services business, an internet business, in all go-to-market models, generating revenue correlates with success 100% of the time. I know that shocks you, that the ability to have revenue coming in would ensure your survival. I know it's an academic that would prove that, but the point that I'm trying to make here is that entrepreneurs have been handed a load of baloney from one of my favorite inventors ever, Thomas Edison, when he said, build a better mousetrap and they'll beat a path to your door. Because the truth is they don't. Products and services don't sell themselves.